Let me tell you a story. A young couple figures out that they are having a baby, and they realize it's very important for them that their baby get the highest nutrition they can and that they have a really nice quality of life to raise their family up with. Well, they're a little frustrated because she's got an allergy issue and he's tired or sick all the time. They figured out why, watching some documentaries. They saw that GMOs are pretty much in all the food everywhere, and their intestinal system is very poor because of the toxins and poison that's in the food. So, after a little while of being upset and angry, they have a friend, kind of an outlandish friend who's traveled the world, and this friend tells them about permaculture. And they did some research and they're excited. Well, they call a permaculture design company and they call a traditional landscaping company. Now, they say, look, we're about to have a baby. We don't have a ton of time. We still got to make a lot of money. And we want to be able to feed ourselves. And if there's ever a problem with the economy, we'd want to be secure in the most way we can. We want to be healthy. So we want a lot of vegetables and fruits and nuts, chicken eggs, not a lot of work. So both companies start going to work, assessing, interviewing, looking at the landscape, and putting together a design. So they both come up with a base map. It looks something similar to this. It's basically what's already on their landscape. Now this is a pretty bare one. This is a road, driveway up to the house, front door here, sidewalk, and this is the plot of land that they're on. We know that way's north. Well, both companies probably are looking at the sectors. 4 big ones here. We got the major winds coming from this area. Noises are coming from this side. And we've got the summer sun and winter sun. So we know the sun's always coming from here. It shines more in the summer than it does in the winter. Now, the conventional landscape company brings together this design that gives them everything they want. They've got a fruit and nut orchard, even an outside area, 12 raised beds, a greenhouse, and a chicken coop. So they're pretty excited. However, this design is lacking quite a bit. Matter of fact, this design is addicted to inputs. We will have to go out, find the material, then purchase soil or compost, put it in these beds, grow, and then after the growing season, fertilize these with something else that'll cost us money. We'll have to work all the time with this chicken house being so far away from the home. Matter of fact, I hope those chickens don't die just from sheer loneliness. Have to water them and feed them every day. But greenhouse isn't too far away, so at least they can come in here. I think this design can be just a tad bit better. If we just move over a little bit, the permaculture company created this design. Now, there's a drastic difference. But let's walk through this. It's not designed just for design's sake. Things are connected with the landscape and with the lifestyle of this new young family. We've seen that both companies identified the slope, high point here, low point here, and some of the elements were moved around. So for instance, we put the chicken coop up here. It's at the high point, so over time it will saturate the soil with fertilization from their poop. It also captures its own rainwater. Now, if we go a little further, our greenhouse is just a little bit bigger, and we have to take the skin off anyhow during the summer, so we utilize this as also a nursery area to start the insane amount of plants that will be here. But if we come over, we've also added a secondary greenhouse that's attached to the home. Now, this greenhouse does more than just grow food. It's attached to the home because in the winter, it actually stores heat and makes this home a little bit less dependent on electricity, or however they heat it. It helps heat the home. And even with a proper venting in the summertime, we can swoop the air out of there using convection heating during the summer. So it's heating and cooling their home with appropriate design. Now, right back here in the home, there's a washing machine. When that turns on, inside this greenhouse is a gray water bed. So this greenhouse helps clean the water and uses the wastewater, and then that overflows down into the next section here, which is where the orchard moved, or really a forest of food, a food forest. Here is a lot of fruit and nut trees that are designed with the slope in mind and using suburban size swales that harvest water passively, both from inside the house and from the natural slope of the land. So we've got a fruit and nut system that is getting watered by itself just by correct positioning and a couple of techniques, and it fertilizes eventually a little bit of itself from the chicken coop manure. But what about the gardens? So here's the road, here's the driveway, and if we come back here, this couple has to get out of the car, go in their house, and then come out and then come into the garden area. But back over here, this couple gets out, comes this way, and has to walk this pathway to get in the house. Now, instead of rectangles, we've used circles. So each one of these circles, there's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, there's over 30 just in this section, where there was only 12 raised beds here. These have just a little bit more linear feet compared to one of those circles, but we get much more in, and even one of these circles can hold 29 to 30 plants. That's if you're doing them at a 12-foot center in a diamond pattern. You can get much more if you just scatter seed. So they have to now walk through the garden. You will garden more when you have to walk through it. So close to the entry point of the house, we have a vegetable washing station that's also attached to a worm farm that uses that excess water. So we get a fertilization and washing before we get into the home. And if we come out a little bit further, we can see that these water tanks now are here, a little bit higher in the landscape. And with a small electrical pump that's ran off of these solar panels, we can then irrigate this whole system with one line. Nothing fancy, and with help of gravity and solar power. Really simple, actually. And if we come back to the chickens, we've actually segmented this whole property into 4 stations for these chickens. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've added fence and runways to those sections. And in the coop, we have gates. So once the chickens are down in the food forest, they stay here for a while. They de-pest the area. They break the pest cycles, and they fertilize it with their poop. And then we bring them back every night to hang out in their coop. And then during another time of the year, they hang out in this section. Now, wherever they're at, you can't actively garden there, at least if they're there for a while, but they break the pest cycles and fertilize. Then you bring them back and they move here, they break the pest cycles. You move them here, they break the pest cycles. So we're using the chicken, utilizing its chickenness for our system. Now, there's quite a problem left with this permaculture design. And the problem is, it's created too much food. So much that we've thought about in the design and we've planned for using the road to come in for a parking area for a store that will have so much fruits and nuts and eggs and vegetation that it has to be advertised here with these signs next to the road so people come in and share the abundance. And even if they're not buying it, they can come into this community area where we have a little cooking station and a table and share in the inspiration and hopefully go out and do it themselves. So if you had a choice, knowing that you wanted to do this, and this fits your needs, but you have an opportunity with a little bit more practical thought to do this, which one would you choose? So if you want to know how to do this, you can go to a permaculture design course. It teaches you these design skills to start looking at connecting your lifestyle in a way that's harmonious and beneficial to the landscape and the way you live. Or you can hire a permaculture design consultant to come out, consult, and design for you to put one of these together. Now, if you want, I could take you out here. As we pass some of this abundance, and I could show you a quick little design that just went in with appropriate design and abundance in mind. You guys go learn some permaculture and start living the life you always wanted.